Things are going to be very interesting when we finally get this announcement of the DCU and the new roadmap and what James Gunn and Peter Safran have planned for us. And we know there's all kinds of question marks out there about who's going to be recast, who's out, who's coming back. We already talked about Jason Momoa possibly being Lobo, which, I mean, to me, that's the perfect casting. I'd rather see him as Lobo than stay as Aquaman in a fresh reboot of the DCU. But today, we have a big one. We are talking about MCU characters that basically have been confirmed but not confirmed, hinted at very, very strongly to be coming over eventually one way or another. And leading that pack is Chris Pratt. Welcome to the Chaos Multiverse, everybody. Jimmy or Chaos, make sure you're subscribed, make sure you have those notifications on. And this was an article over on The Direct talking about how James Gunn strongly suggested that his Guardians of the Galaxy family, Chris Pratt, Batista, all of them could end up making their way over to his DCU, which just got everybody talking and speculating and fan casting, and that's exactly what we're going to do. But we're going to focus on Chris Pratt. Now, if you want to give me suggestions on who you think Batista could play in the DC universe or any of the other Guardians of the Galaxy, please do in the comment section. But I'm telling you right now, Chris Pratt is in the perfect position because there are multiple characters in the DC universe, if they choose to bring them into the new DCU fold, that he could really knock out of the park. It just fits right with what kind of actor he is. So we're going to go over all those characters. You let me know if any of these are hit or miss for you. And we do need to remember, he's still in the MCU. He's still a Guardian, and he's about to be in his probably biggest movie, Guardians of the Galaxy, and we know this team is probably being retired. But are we going to see him in any form or fashion moving into the end of the multiverse saga? I'm talking about the Kang Dynasty, and I'm talking about Secret Wars. It would make sense, but then again, somewhere the journey has to end, right? And if this Guardians team up is done, and maybe they get a new leader down the road in the form of Adam Warlock and just a new group, this may be the last stand for Chris Pratt as Star-Lord. And I think he's done an amazing job. He has been the epitome of Star-Lord. I think he knocked it out of the park. And he took the big fall in Infinity War that made everybody mad too, but it had to happen for the story plot to continue, right? But what does his future hold? And it looks like this guy may literally go from almost a decade tenure with the MCU and then hop right over for a long, long stay with the new DCU. I mean, as an actor, if you're a fan of comic books, does it get any better than that? You literally play a pivotal role in one of the biggest franchises of all time. And then you knock that out of the park and you say, you know what? Let's go to the other side. Let's do it with the other biggest comic book franchise of all time. I would be over the moon. Anyway, let's talk about some potential characters that James Gunn could cast Chris Pratt in the future for the DCU. The first one is Captain Cold. Not a lot of people know about him, but he's actually pretty cool. I mean, Leonard Snart is not only a criminal, and yes, it's all the cold stuff and the free stuff, but he's actually on the level of intellect with people like Bruce Banner and Tony Stark, which makes him a very, very formidable foe. I mean, he's a villain, but he also lives by a code, and he doesn't kill anyone ever. So there's a lot of layers to it. I could see Chris Pratt playing Captain Cold. Another one they suggested is Adam Strange. Now, I do agree that the character arcs of Star-Lord and Adam Strange are literally right there with each other. Adam Strange is a guy from Earth, and then he goes to an alien planet where, guess what? He turns into a superhero. Star-Lord, kid from Earth, goes to an alien planet or out into the universe, and guess what? Turns into a superhero. So I can see this one, but this is probably my least favorite pick. I just don't think Chris Pratt's persona kind of fits with the Adam Strange that I know from the comics, but I mean, that can all be adapted. Now, this is probably the least known casting out of all of these, Booster Gold. Now, this guy is quirky, he's time traveling, this would actually work. Now, Booster Gold's a good guy, but he also has some criminal history in his past too, so it would be cool to see how they do that. And there are speculations that we could actually see Booster Gold at least be teased when Blue Beetle comes out. So we'll see. Once again, this is one that not many people know about. Now, let's get into the most popular picks, and I'll tell you which one I think is going to happen. I'll give you my prediction. Green Arrow absolutely would be a perfect casting for Pratt. He has the comedic chops. I mean, he's been an action hero. He's been a superhero. This would be, to me, this would be a home run if they swung at this one. I truly, truly think. And Green Arrow needs to be part of the big DCU picture. The next one, and it's kind of a left field pick, is Reverse Flash. Now, we're going to have a Flash. There's even talks about Ezra actually staying, which is crazy. But eventually, we'll have a Flash because we're going to have a new Justice League, right? So we have to have a Flash. Now, if you have a Flash, you eventually have the villain, Reverse Flash. I mean, the arch nemesis. Everybody knows. And, this would be cool. I would actually like to see Chris Pratt in that villainous role as opposed to a superhero and see how he would actually, I don't know, just to see how he would react to that. But the most obvious, to me, casting, and this is the no-brainer. I don't even think you have to have meetings or talk about this. This is one of those where it's right in front of you. Don't overthink it. Just call Chris and say, Chris, when you're done with your MCU contract and you're ready, I've got the role for you. Green Lantern. To me, this is an absolute no-brainer. Now, we didn't even see Green Lantern. Zack Snyder's projects didn't even whiff at him, and he needs to be there. James Gunn has already said that Green Lantern is on his radar, and that means he's going to be part of this new building block system for the DCU, and he needs to. He's a huge character in the DCU. Whichever one you go with, Guy Gardner, Hal Jordan, whichever one it is, he needs to be there. Now, looking at Chris Pratt, this would be perfect. It would be absolutely perfect. Think of him as Green Lantern, the Guy Gardner version. I mean, making jokes, cracking up, super abrasive, kind of that arrogant hero. I mean, that fits Chris Pratt perfect. Now, Hal Jordan is the most popular version of Green Lantern. I think he could do that as well, but I'm just telling you right now, Guy Gardner, Chris Pratt, Green Lantern, a year or two down the road, when they announce this, come back to this video and be like, okay, yeah. I mean, yes, he could be Alan Scott, or I think there's a couple others he could be, but that's not gonna get you your bang for your buck. Guy Gardner is the pick. It has to be. Let me know what you guys think. Well, who do you think Chris Pratt could play in the DCU? I think he's literally got multiple options that would actually make sense, and James Gunn's probably just sitting there licking his chops. He's probably super excited about the future and what it's actually going to hold. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you soon.